Welcome. So we would now like to start our 2021 Medium-Term Management Plan briefing. Let me introduce the presenter today, President and CEO of Hitachi Limited, Toshiaki Higashihara. Mr. Higashihara, please.
Ladies and gentlemen, today I would like to present 2021 Midterm Management Plan. Thank you very much for coming to this meeting where we will explain the new plan. I have summarized 4 points that I would like to convey to you today. These are the key messages. First, we will become a global leader in social innovation business under this 2021 Midterm Management Plan. And with respect to corporate value, we would like to operate businesses to create 3 value propositions, improving customers' social values, environmental values, and economic values. And we would like to make aggressive investments into areas of focus in the next 3 years. We will spend 2 to 2.5 trillion yen investment. In the last 3 years, we have made 500 billion yen investment. But in order to achieve growth, we're thinking of making an investment of 2 to 2.5 trillion yen. And to strengthen corporate management system, we divided the businesses into 5 sectors. From the viewpoint of capital efficiencies, we will set KPIs. And we decided to introduce ROIC, R-O-I-C, as one of the indicators. So these are the 4 points that I would like to cover, and I would like to discuss the details at this moment. First, I would like to talk about financial results for the 2018 Midterm Management Plan. Looking at the performance, adjusted operating income was the highest ever at 754.9 billion yen, and we achieved our target of 8% for the adjusted operating income ratio. We had impairment loss temporarily from the Horizon project. So if we exclude the impact from the suspension of the Horizon project, net income attributable to Hitachi stockholders and ROA exceeded our initial targets, indicating that Hitachi now has increasing earning power. And I believe that Hitachi has gone through a V-shaped recovery process from the deficit of 787.3 billion yen in FY 2008. We indeed have made strenuous efforts to achieve this recovery in the past few years. And we would like to put an end to this recovery period at the end of this midterm business plan right now. And with the new plan in place, we will lead our business to growth stage. Next, I will talk about Hitachi's vision. Which direction should we be heading toward? First, I would like to take a look at the global megatrends surrounding us. We're said to be in times of VUCA. The future is very uncertain. And we are beset with the problem of urbanization, demographic changes due to aging, climate change, and resource shortages. Various changes affect human life. We are seeing these social issues becoming manifest. Here in Japan, innovation is happening, as represented by the concept of Society 5.0, and around the world as well. SDGs are being pursued as part of the effort to resolve social issues that I have just talked about. Hitachi has always had the corporate mission to contribute to society through the development of superior original technology and products. And Hitachi has contributed to society by developing infrastructure-related technologies since its foundation. And Hitachi will continue to strive to serve for a sustainable society by focusing on social innovation business with our mission under the new plan. And we have to raise corporate value. And by promoting social innovation business in the 2021 midterm management plan, we will operate businesses to create three value propositions, improving customers' social values, environmental values, and economic values. Well, then what are the capabilities that are required of social innovation business? As digitization proceeds, we have to have the capabilities that we can use in the digital spaces, as well as capabilities for the physical spaces. And at the same time, the capability to connect the cyber and physical spaces so that we can create new value and to achieve innovation. That is what we need, I believe. Now, generally speaking, this is referred to as the cyber physical systems. So using sensors, we collect information from the field, and we will conduct simulations in the cyberspace and use that to control what is happening on the ground. And that is the cyber physical systems that we can offer, and we have a strength there. I say so because we have more than 100 years of experiences in operational technologies and more than 50 years of experiences in IT and IT-related solutions. Within one company, OT, IT, and products, we have all of them. And there are not many companies like us in the world. So leveraging these characteristics, we would like to pursue social innovation business. On May 10, 2016, we made an announcement about Lumada. Lumada, as you all know, is to eliminate data to create new value. That was why we coined it Lumada back then. It's been 3 years since. We now have more than 860 use cases, and the sales generated exceed 1 trillion yen. So we would like to place Lumada at the core of what we do so as to pursue social innovation together with our customers. So in order to realize the innovation that times require, we have to go beyond digital and beyond real. Digital space alone is insufficient. We have to combine both digital and real to achieve innovation. And we need to work with our customers to achieve this aspiration. That is the kind of company that we would like to be. And under the 2021 plan, to accelerate innovation, we have identified and defined these 5 areas, 5 sectors. And by conducting businesses in these 5 sectors, we would like to enhance social, environmental, and economic values for customers. These 5 are mobility, smart life, industry, energy, and IT. And by driving the 3 values, ultimately, we would like to improve the quality of life for people and the corporate values of our customers. And of course, for that, investments are necessary. As I said, so far, inclusive of M&A, we have made growth investments of 500 billion yen so far. Under the 2021 midterm management plan, we will make growth investments, including those for M&A, of 2 trillion to 2.5 trillion yen. We have made a decision to acquire the power grid business of ABB, which is worth 1 trillion yen. And so we would like to be aggressive in making such investments for growth. And we have to proactively utilize financial leverage to drive down the cost of capital. And at the same time, by introducing ROIC, return on investment capital, we would like to increase capital efficiency. We've focused on profit margins. But going forward, we also need to focus on asset efficiencies as well as capital efficiencies. We will make that switch. In these 5 sectors, what specific areas will we invest in? With respect to mobility, we have already acquired 100% of Ansaldo STS and Yuntai Engineering, which is an elevator business. We are proceeding with the acquisition of this company. So, in this mobility sector, we will enter the growth phase with these acquisitions. With respect to Smart Life, we're still amidst restructuring effort. In 2019, we would like to follow through on the restructuring effort and accelerate our planning for the next phase of growth. Industry is an area where we will make aggressive investments. Under the old plan, we acquired Slayer and JR Automation Technologies is acquired, and with that, we would like to expand the industry business. And with respect to energy, we reached a basic agreement with ABB on the acquisition of its power grids business, and we need to prepare for growth, including our efforts on post-merger integration. IT, we have acquired Pentaho. It's a software company that provides analytics, and we have also launched and expanded Lumada in IT. And this is another area where we will focus growth investments on, so that we can make Lumada open and create ecosystems. So industry and IT will be the areas where we will particularly focus in terms of investments. At the same time, we would like to accelerate our co-creation activities with our customers. In April, we opened and launched Kyoso no Mori. The laboratory researchers and designers are made available for customers to achieve collaborative creation. So within our research institute, we created Kyoso no Mori so that we can accelerate efforts at co-creation. And we're thinking of conducting corporate venturing. So a fund will be set up to support the acceleration of innovation around the globe. Through these activities, we will enhance Lumada as a driver that accelerates social innovation business and increase social values, environmental values, and economic values for our customers.
Now, strengthening the management base of Hitachi will also utilize Lumada. Operational reform, and the sales reform and indirect functions reform with AI and RPA. We will improve the process and also improve production system in factories. And with this reform, we will improve the profitability, gross margin, and SG&A. In terms of safety and quality assurance compliance, we need to move to utilize more digitalization. For example, the data that does not involve human intervention or camera monitoring to eliminate unsafe process or stop the process that is not safe. We want to promote more of this to win more trust from the society. So this is what we mean by strengthening the management base. Next, the 5 areas that I mentioned earlier. Let me elaborate on the social innovation business. First, starting with mobility. In order to provide safe and comfortable transportation service to people, it says mobility solutions times Lumada. First is dynamic headway. In Copenhagen Metro, this is being introduced. 24/7 driverless operation is realized. On platform, depending on the number of people waiting for the train, the timetable schedule can be formulated. So this solution will be expanded going forward. And remote monitoring services for buildings will also be promoted. Just one example is social contribution. We provide safe, comfortable, and environmentally friendly railway services for 18.5 billion people worldwide per year. We want Hitachi to be the company that provides this. Next is solutions, life solutions. We want to create cities that are more convenient and environmentally friendly for anyone to live in. So, life solutions times Lumada. Development of smart cities and development of smart therapies, connected cars, and connected home electric appliances will be our focus. One social contribution example is the particle therapy system for cancer treatment. This is provided right now for 60,000 people, and we want to contribute to 80,000 people's treatment worldwide by 2021. Next is industries. In order to improve the efficiency of the customer's production and processing systems and to provide safe, secure city water and sewage water system, we will provide industry solutions times Lumada for smart logistics and smart maintenance, factory automation, and water leakage detection systems. Water leakage detection system was announced just last week. With sensor, water leakage can be detected. This is social infrastructure sensor that we announced last week. Now, one example of our social contribution. City water, sewage water, and seawater desalination technology is supplied to provide safe and secure water environment for 70 million people a day worldwide. This is what we want to achieve. Next is energy. Hitachi will provide power grid solutions, energy management, and other solutions for the provision and management of stable, high-efficient energy. By 2021, we will manage 25% of world's transformer substations worldwide and supply stable energy, such as electricity, to 1.8 billion people worldwide. Next, please. IT solutions. Our goal is to accelerate the customer's innovation using advanced information technologies. IT solutions times Lumada. State-of-the-art financial and social IT services will be provided and enhance Lumada platform even further. Example for social contribution is we will work with Vietnam Post to expand the digital payment service to be more convenient for 6 million public fund recipients from 2020. Next, please. Now, let me talk about targets laid out in the 2021 Midterm Management Plan. First, in the society and the environment, we will provide safe and comfortable transportation service to total 18.5 billion people per year and also provide clean water and sewage system for 70 million people per day. And to promote innovation, we need to increase the number of data scientists. In Hitachi, we have around 1,000, and we want to triple this to 3,000 to accelerate our innovation. And in the environment, CO2 emission, and water usage efficiency and resource usage efficiency will be improved. Next, please. Next, I will look at Hitachi's financial targets, economic value. Hitachi is now aiming for annual organic growth rate of more than 3% in revenues and adjusted operating income ratio of more than 10%. And our target for cumulative operating cash flow over the 3 years is more than 2.5 trillion yen. And ROIC, return on investment capitals, set as a new key performance indicator with a goal of more than 10% for this KPI. Our overseas sales ratio is currently 51%. We want to improve this to 60% or above. So this is our keyword for the next 3 years, powering good. Let's shine the world. Improving the quality of life of people and realizing the sustainable society. We want to achieve the good things that people around the world desire with all our efforts. That is our thinking behind this word, powering good. We want to shine the world with all of us together, brighten the world together. So that concludes my presentation. Today I talked about the 5 focus areas. On June 4th, the 5 area will be more elaborated in the briefing on June 5th. So I hope you could take a listen. Thank you very much.
Let's move on to questions and answers. We will bring a microphone for you. Please state your name and affiliation before asking your questions. In the first half of Q&A, press members, and in the latter half, investors and analysts will be invited to ask questions. So we will be dividing the Q&A session into 2. So in the first half, we would like to invite questions from the press. Question. Mr. Higashihara, thank you very much for the presentation today. Hitachi is heading toward a new direction, and I was able to understand that very well from your presentation. In the presentation, you talked about a corporate venturing fund, corporate venture capital. I understand that you haven't done such an initiative before. Utilizing startup technology, you want to achieve innovation. So you would set this up in the Silicon Valley and make investments into venture companies in the United States. So what is the purpose and the outline of CVC that you talked about? Answer. We already have partial investment into the venture capital in the Silicon Valley. We are already getting information from them. Venture capital that I talked about today will be in Germany, and we'll also set up a branch for that in the United States. So from the perspective that's different from that of Silicon Valley, we would like to run this venture capital fund. And the purpose is such that around the world, digitization is underway. And cyber physical system is progressing very quickly. In Germany, as you well know, Industry 4.0 initiative is ongoing. So under these circumstances, the overriding question is how to partner with and work with venture companies. How can we leverage the global network to collect information about promising technology? And so for such promising technology, we would like to pursue partnerships. And we're going to set the venture capital that I talked about today in Germany.
Question. So it will be in Germany. And it's difficult to discern new technology effectively, I think. Now, including you, large companies in Japan is having difficulty making speedy decision-making. So you may establish this venture capital, but it may not lead to profit improvement. I've seen many examples like that in the past. So how do you will improve your discerning eyes or speedy decision-making? Answer. The top management here will not be Hitachi people. We will have external people who are well experienced in venture capital. Those will be the top management of venture capital. Initially, $150 million. But we want to give freedom for them their investment, and communication will be crucial. We will have close communication with the top management of the venture capital. Hitachi management and venture side will have close communication, and if we think things are feasible or not workable, we want to make speedy decisions appropriately. Does this answer your question?
それでは次の方、じゃあそちらの
The next question, please. Question. I have two questions I would like to ask. Question number one, which was mentioned earlier, the 4 subsidiaries that are also listed. Are you going to absorb them, or are you going to sell them in the next 3 years? What's your policy with respect to the listed subsidiaries? Answer: we have 4 such subsidiaries with respect to these 4 companies. A lot of media coverage has been made. What is important is that toward 2021, for both Hitachi and the subsidiaries, we have to decide how to go about competing in the world. We need to decide on that. What is the best forum for us to operate? By having close collaboration, utilizing Lumada, some subsidiaries will grow, and some other may decide to become independent. In 2021, how can they best compete? In view of that, I would like to make the ultimate decision for these subsidiaries. On various fronts, we have to be mindful of the capital policy for each of these entities as well. Another question, the second question. Mobility and electric appliances are suffering from low profitability. In the next 3 years, are you looking to achieve new growth, a margin of 10%, 20%? So do you believe that they can recover so much so that they can be profitable as much as others? Answer: well, Global Life Solutions, we have set up a company merging different businesses. And what initiatives and steps are we going to take? We have to first drive profitability for these businesses. We have to be profitable enough so that we can embark on the next step. That is what we're going to do. Right now, the margin is only 5%. Profitability is only 5%. If we are to achieve double-digit profitability, we have to do more. And with respect to mobility, automotive business, we have not been able to achieve the profitability plan. And we are now implementing restructuring efforts. The president responsible for that is working hard. It hit bottom in the 3rd quarter. In the 4th quarter, we're seeing a recovery, and I believe that continuous improvement will be made. And once improvement is made, we would like to take the next steps for growth. Electric appliances, healthcare, and AMS automotive business. And that is included in Life Solutions. So we're now recovering profitability, and in the next 1.5 years, we will try to seek growth. In June, we believe we will be able to come out with a new direction. FY 2019, we will continue to recover profitability and come out with a vision for the future of these businesses.
Next question, please. Question. Thank you very much for your explanation today. So in the previous medium-term management plan, Lumada aim goal was 1 trillion yen. This time, revenue target will be announced as well? Answer. Personally, we are discussing this internally. And I think we are reaching 1.6 trillion, but I am encouraging people to achieve 2 trillion. So by 2021, I am saying we want to come close to double that level. Question, understood. And overseas sales ratio, you are aiming for 60%. And in the meantime, there may be some businesses that will come in or go out. Overseas, it's product-centered, and I think that is behind 51%, basis of 51%. Now, what is your view when we achieve 60%? What kind of structure? Answer, if we take in ABB in 2020, it will be around 1 trillion yen. So including that, 60% is, even with capital policy, 60% is not a difficult level for us to achieve.
そちらの
Question. I have just one question. In the first half, information business achieved a 10% operating margin ahead of others, and I would like your view on that. Answer. So, information and telecom business unit who worked very hard to achieve a double-digit margin, I would like to express my thanks to them. But I don't want them to stop there. Information, technology, and communication, they should be the leading force for all our businesses. What do I mean by that? Well, ICT will be the platform for everything we do. All the 5 sectors, 5 areas, information and communication will be utilized as a common thread, if you will. So Hitachi's strength, OT, operational technology, the vertical axis, and IT, the horizontal axis, if we can combine the two more, we will be able to provide better value-added solutions. So we should not be complacent with achieving only 10%. We want our people to aim at 15%. That's what I always tell them.
一番前の
Next question, please. Question. I have 2 questions. First, as mentioned earlier, about the 4 listed subsidiaries towards 2021, how they can contribute. So how do you judge, or the timing that you make judgment for their contribution? Answer. So towards 2021, we are hearing from each individual subsidiaries on the direction they want to move into. And in response, Hitachi, Lumada, through collaboration with Lumada, we are trying to calculate how much impact it can produce. We are scrutinizing some divisions, some subsidiaries. For example, Hitachi Koki went out. Some subsidiaries may be better alone or independent. So for those companies, if they can grow better that way, we will explore such possibility. But we are scrutinizing, looking closely now. Question. My next question is not directly related to the midterm management plan. Sorry about that. But U.S., China, Trump announced the increase of the tariff today. It may be difficult to talk about the impact on Hitachi business, but what do you honestly feel about this? What's your response? And between the two powers, U.S. and China, the trade friction is occurring, and this is not good for the free trade. So what is your response? Answer. Regarding the increase in tariff and the impact on Hitachi, until now, Hitachi has been focusing on the local production, local consumption. So we do not think we will be greatly impacted by this tariff increase. And with this tariff increase, the global economy slowdown is my concern. So the free trade structure needs to be discussed more so that we can prevent the slowdown of the world economy. That is what we need to do.
ありませんでしょうか。
Any other questions? Question. Thank you for the presentation. I have 2 main questions. Question number 1. of the 5 areas that you're focusing on, a life business, you said that you're looking to improve profitability. You will be preparing for the next steps in the next 12 months or so. In terms of Lumada, the data that is gained from this life business, I would like to ask you about the importance of that. Why have you included it as part of this slide that you're showing right now? Answer. As I showed you earlier, 5 sectors, 5 areas. 2021, with these 5 areas, social, environmental, economic values will be grown. Beyond that, in the plan, next to the one that we're about to have, IT will be a horizontal platform, energy will be the platform. All the 5 areas will be the platforms. What can we provide on top of that? Quality of life and corporate value, these 2 will remain. The go-to-market front team will have to utilize the platforms to provide a better quality of life and greater corporate value for customers through their proposals. So how can we create these platforms that are easy to use? That's going to be a major challenge for the next 3 years. And life is about raising quality of life. Look at smart cities. I think it's a good example. In order to realize a smart city, you have to think about the transportation system, water and the sewage system, as well as electricity generation. Everything is involved. Mobility and life have to be combined to form part of the platform, including IT, so that it can be utilized to raise QOL. So if not 2021, by 2024, we would like to achieve that. And in view of that, we define these 5 sectors, and that's going to be one of the steps to be followed. So a quality of life, corporate value, at the center of that is our smart business. Well, thank you. Question. In terms of Lumada, you said that you would like to aim at achieving a revenue of 2 trillion from Lumada by the end of the last year of the next midterm business plan. And I think Lumada is going to be relevant for overseas. And I think Lumada's revenue, only 10% of it comes from overseas. How specifically are you going to grow it? Answer, yes. As you said correctly, Lumada has been mainly a domestic business. I said cyber physical system. Airbag that is applied to Daikin, the production process for that is improved by using camera surveillance over the operators. Looking at the moves they make, we improve the operational flow. If there's a problem, we would detect it quickly. And together with Daikin, we have developed a welding technology. Using camera surveillance and monitoring, amateur and professional welders will be monitored, and their techniques will be compared and clarified. So we have now increasing number of solution cores. We're preparing increasing number of them. And they're being showcased in the show window of Lumada. And we would like to put these to actual use as much as possible around the world. If that is realized, then I think Lumada's overseas sales ratio will increase dramatically. And as I said, as part of my discussion with respect to aggressive investments, go-to-market front team will have to be strengthened. So robotic SI manufacture, JR Automation, for example, is acquired. And robotics can be optimized, but we need to connect with Lumada. We need to optimize the factory, have it connected to logistics. And if there are factories around the world, Lumada will make a decision to optimize the volume of production for each of the factories around the world. That could happen. And if that is to be achieved, we need front business teams around the world. We're trying to develop them right now. IT Lumada business, therefore, requires aggressive investment. That's why I wrote it in the presentation.
Question. I think you intentionally refrained from mentioning numbers, but sales, revenue, and profit margin. If I calculate, it is a little over 10 trillion yen and operating profit of 1 trillion. Is this roughly correct? Answer. We will do M&A going forward and the capital policy. So sales, top line is not something I stick to. 10 trillion would be nice, but in the previous announcement of midterm management plans, we said 10 trillion and 8%, but rather than that, improvement in SG&A and improvement in gross margin should be accelerated more. Or look at M&A candidates, which we can expect the operating income. And so it says 10%, but we do not stick to revenue that much.
で補足修正がございまして、エアバッグ
There's a correction. Airbag, Daicel, and Daikin was another company, just to clarify. Other questions, please. Question. I have two questions. With respect to the railway business, you talked about revenue just a moment ago. 1 trillion yen of revenue from the railway business in early 2020. So what is the plan? What is the direction? And how much size are you talking about? Answer, the revenue is right now 650 billion yen or so, and we would like to plan for the future, but we have to work with a partner. We're not sure how much we can do. But Ansaldo STS is now turned into a 100% subsidiary. And around the world, we are gaining orders as a result of this acquisition for our railway business. So through organic growth, what would happen? And on top of that, by having M&A, on top of that, by 2021, we may be able to increase the revenue to 1 trillion yen. But as I said, we have a partner that we have to work with. We shouldn't be bent on the timeline alone. With Ansaldo STS turning into 100% subsidiaries around the world, we are now capturing a number of projects around the world. We changed the corporate name to Hitachi STS. By having a new name, we are seeing increasing number of inquiries from customers. So through organic growth, how much growth can we achieve? For details of the strategy, come to June 4th meeting. Another question about nuclear power. Well, in January, when you decided the suspension for the nuclear power project in the UK, you said that you're not going to do new projects. Answer. Recommissioning and decommissioning work we are focusing on in Japan right now. And I think we need a national debate as to what we're going to do with nuclear power plants. By 2021, overnight, are we going to see a rapid improvement? I don't think so, because it's going to take time. And with respect to Horizon, the time when we made the decision to suspend, things have not changed all that much since then. So, with respect to the timeline, this may be prolonged. We may have to wait.
ご質問ございませんでしょうか。
Any other questions? Question. This is not relevant to the management policy, but in Kasado office, the trainers are now being surveyed, and there may be some disposition on that, and the fired apprentice and the impact on the business. Could you elaborate? Answer. This time we caused confusion regarding this technical trainees, and we are taking this seriously. We have to take a form of firing. So we dismissed, fired the trainees. But if the conditions are ready, we want to accept this any time. At any rate, we feel sorry for causing confusion for the technical trainees. And regarding the acceptance of the trainees, we think we have room for improvement on our side. So we will improve what we can improve going forward. Question. So, you think that you had some faults on your side as well? Answer. There is no comment from the government administration side, so I cannot say much more, but I'm not saying we are perfect. In various businesses, there are always points or room for improvement, and we need to be modest and look back and reflect on ourselves and improve what we can do, not just in this technical training issue, but in other areas as well.
30分でございますので、報道
We're about to pass the 30-minute mark, so the last question from the press. Question. My first question is as follows, which regards Lumada. The investment made so far in the next 3 years, how much investment are you planning for Lumada? Answer. So far, we've made investments of 100 billion yen or so, and we have been able to have a revenue of 1 trillion. Core business, 300 billion. Lumada core, 300 billion yen plus, and if we include Lumada SI, the revenue is in excess of 1 trillion. And in the next 3 years, we would like to make a minimum investment of 150 billion yen. As one of the questioners asked, in order to make Lumada available around the world, if we need to spend more cost, we would like to look at cost and benefit and decide how much to invest. We're thinking of 150 billion in the next 3 years. Question. GE predicts turned into a failure. Edge cloud business is expected to see more intense competition. For Lumada, isn't there such a problem? Answer. Fortunately, and I'm not sure if I should say this or not, but as was mentioned earlier, the information communication team is now leading the effort within Hitachi with a margin of over 10%. Other businesses have yet to catch up. They're not there yet. So information communication business and product-related business, if the two can collaborate with each other very successfully, then that would be a strong strength for us. And if we have a structure where information and communication business unit is leading, well, we really don't have. If we have to conduct M&A because we don't have information and communication, it would be difficult. But fortunately, we already have information and communication business, and they're the leading force. That puts us in a very good position. Second question has to do with nuclear power. Looking at Japan, vertical integration and industry shake reorganization that is being talked about. So how is Hitachi going to address that trend with respect to Horizon? If there's a possibility for you to serve as a vendor, could you comment on that? Answer. Well, domestically, yes, we're having a lot of debate, discussions, but we have not reached a decision, a conclusion yet. As I've been saying, with respect to nuclear power, we need more national debates so that we can have a clear vision. We would like to actively engage in such national debate, as I've always said. With respect to Horizon, the situation is not yet fixed. The company, Horizon, how will it look like? What shape and form will it take? It's not been determined yet. Are we going to supply just products? We have not decided on a policy yet.
質疑の方ですね。
Now, investors, analysts, questions, please. Question. I have two questions. First, in this medium-term management plan, the adjusted operating income ratio is raised from 8% to over 10%. So this is more than 2% increase. Now, in this increase, will you boost the existing business, as you mentioned many times, M&A, or sell the low-margin business? Will you achieve this through the reshuffling of the portfolio? So I'm sure you will do both, but this improvement of 2%, what is the breakdown? Am I wrong? Even without M&A, you are aiming for 8 to 10% with the existing business? Answer. In strengthening the management base, Lumada, through digital transformation, we will improve the management base. SG&A and gross margin will improve. It was mentioned in the material. Compared to the global competitors, Hitachi's gross margin is less than 30%. So gross margin need to come close to 30%. We need to take steps to do that. And SG&A need to be below 20%. So apart from M&A, even in the organic growth, gross margin and SG&A need to improve. And through this, we need to improve 2%. Thank you. Question. In KPI, ROIC is now newly included. So by including ROIC in your KPI, how will this change your management judgment or decision? Now, adjusted operating income ratio. Maybe you will focus on one business because it's high, or so from ROIC point of view, it may be different. The apparent ROS may be low, but as Hitachi, from ROIC point of view, you may need to focus on that particular business. Or there may be other business which is apparently profitable, but uses so much capital from ROIC point of view. So if you have new perspective with ROIC, inclusion of ROIC. Answer. We divided into 5 areas and included ROIC. Until now, capital efficiency and asset efficiency was not one big focus. We had asset that did not generate cash, and we did not have this perspective. So this time, ROIC and WACC and ROIC spread are clearly set out, so that to see if ROIC and profit are being generated and to improve ROIC. Otherwise, we cannot become a global company. So that's why we are introducing ROIC this time. Question. Then, as top management, you will, rather than selecting based on ROIC, the asset and capital, you will ascertain if it's appropriate, and if not, you may dispose or sell. Answer. We will first recognize the capital efficiency appropriately, and looking at the business growth, there will be many M&A candidates in the 5 areas, and the head office staff will set the priority. So this one to raise the social value, or that one to raise the environment value. Thank you.
他にご質問ございませんでしょうか。
Any other questions? Question. Thank you. Wi-Fi that I requested 1 year ago has finally been introduced. Hitachi's Lumada is working now. Powering good, your slogan at the end of the presentation, that was concise and good, very symbolic of Hitachi's change. So here are some questions I would like to ask. Powering good, when you say that, in terms of Lumada, well, 5G is about to change the world. And communication technology, well, Hitachi has withdrawn from that business. Energy, information, when 5G is connecting all of these businesses, Hitachi is lacking RF technology. You used to have it before, but you're weak on that right now. And I think you may be pressed to conduct an M&A to acquire a business in this area. What do you think? Answer. So selling hardware business in the information business, yes, we did implement various initiatives. Hitachi alone cannot provide all these solutions. I don't believe we can do so. So, of course, we will collaborate with companies who are strong in communication so that we can provide the right value to our customers. The point here is by having all the businesses within our company, I don't think the times demand that. We need to focus on what the customers want. 5G hardware technology, is it that they're looking? Or are they looking for 5G application technology? There's a difference there. So leveraging Lumada, we are providing value, but if we are to do so, for 5G hardware, we will have to purchase that or collaborate with potential partners. That approach will work. Thank you. Another question. Page 13, power grid business, PMI to be focused on. PMI, post-merger integration, it's easier said than done. It's very difficult to actually implement it. So what's been the progress so far? And do you have numerical targets for PMI? If you could just give us an update. Answer. ABB, Power Grid team, we are collaborating with them to identify assets. That's been done by ABB. So we have specific projects to collaborate. By mid-2020, we would like to make a decision. The ownership ratio is 81.1% versus 19.9%. We've made a decision on that, and we would like to work toward that. So that part is on track. It's not really PMI. It's the step preceding creating a JV. That is what we're on right now. And another point is that ABB Power Grid business, we decided to acquire that. One major reason for that is the right chemistry that we have with ABB. We want to make social contribution. They too. And we have this good chemistry between the two. with a strong aspiration for serving our society. In the process of preparing for setting up a joint venture, we are feeling that positive chemistry. So by mid-2020, we would like to establish the joint venture and embark on PMI, post-merger integration. We will have to make efforts at trying to achieve mutual understanding. Just because we have capital relationship, we won't be able to automatically understand each other. We will have to understand each other's culture and take it from there. Thank you. My last question, the same page, life business, Hitachi Medical, and so forth. You talked about particle cancer therapy, which is a innovative technology where Japan has an overwhelming market share in the world. So Hitachi Healthcare business, will it be listed in the future? You seem to be sorting out which subsidiaries to keep listed. And in the future, you may have other good subsidiaries. So what's your thinking on your subsidiaries? Are they to be listed, kept listed? Answer. Not that we have a specific plan to list them. Where it makes sense to integrate business, we will go ahead and integrate, merge. We're not pursuing integration for the sake of future IPO. And particle therapy that I talked about, as part of social contribution, this could play a major role. Last year, Mitsubishi Electric's a particle therapy team, we worked with them. Hitachi's particle therapy team and Mitsubishi's particle therapy team were working together. And we now have an excellent team to provide particle therapy for cancer in the world. And we would like to bring the force of this team brought to bear. We would like to increase the number of patients who are treated by this. We're not thinking of having an IPO of this business. Did that answer your questions? Yes.
Next question, please. Question. I have two questions. So the numerical target on page 24, this is consolidated Hitachi base numbers, I understand. But your explanation, IT, energy, industry, mobility, and life, you focus more on these 5 areas. So in the 5 areas, this number, and on consolidated basis, this number? Answer. I'm sorry, I did not explain sufficiently. So 2021, we think on consolidated basis. But as I said earlier, the listed subsidiaries, we are thinking of various capital policies. So the core base will have to be excluding the listed subsidiaries. And that's why we did not list the revenue and global ratio. ABB Power Grid is the main component here. So we look at this on a consolidated basis, but we do not have a strong focus on the listed subsidiaries in this number. Question. Now, capital policy, including the listed subsidiaries, estimate. So you introduce ROIC. So if your asset or business or the subsidiaries are sold and have cash income, this may impact ROIC. So I'm trying to ask this in the right way. How much financial leverage are you willing to take? So what will you do when you have the cash income? Answer. It's a very difficult question to answer. financial leverage. Until now, Hitachi debt equity ratio was somewhere 0.2 or so. So DE ratio, our overall target was 0.5, but we were far from that. Now, when we formulated 2021 medium-term management plan, we discussed leverage in depth. So 2.5 trillion yen. This is the growth investment, including M&A, 2.5 trillion yen. But aside from that, capex and shareholder return, including that, 4 trillion yen capital allocation will be required. 4 to 4.5 trillion yen capital allocation is needed. Of that, 2.5 trillion yen operating cash flow. So how can we work on the other parts? Maybe asset sales or the borrowing. So we will look at the timeline and work on this. And that is the management's role in 2021 medium-term management plan. That's our understanding. Thank you.
他にご質問ございませんでしょうか。
Any other questions? Question. I have 3 questions. Page 13. Internal targets for operating margin, if you can share that for each of the sectors. IT sector, you said you would like to aim for 15%. And so is it going to be 10%, 10% all across, or is it going to be uneven? Answer. Well, I said 15%. That's my desire. On the 4th of June, we will have all the top management of the respective businesses gathering, and I hope you will get to hear more details on that day. Second question, investment of 2 to 2.5 trillion yen. Industry, energy, IT, you will be making focused investments. However, will you change and be flexible enough if situation changes, or have you already decided to make aggressive investments into the sectors that I just mentioned? Answer. I talked about uncertainties earlier. At this moment, given the timeline for 2021, industry and IT, investments in these 2 areas will be crucial for the next phase of growth for us. But you never know what could happen in the future. 1 year, 2 years from now, something may happen. We will have to think what to do then. Of course, risks exist. We will have to count the risks, manage them. So this is our thinking as of right now. Question regarding IT. You said that you would like to raise the overseas revenue ratio. IT service, number 3 in the market, number 15 in the global market. If you are to go after the global market share, are you going to consider buying companies, or would you focus more on profitability and concentrate your efforts on Lumada and related business? It will be the latter. That's my answer. With digital area alone, if you are to compete just on the basis of digital business, there's a limit. Industry, IT, these segments that we are seeing right now will be blurred. Such delineations will disappear. Borders will disappear. From customers' point of view, those borders are irrelevant. They just want solutions to solve their problems. And solutions may be provided through IT. They could come in the form of products. I defined our businesses into 5 sectors that may have misled you, but rather than respectively growing these 5 businesses, it's more about focusing on meeting customer requirements. And I talked about turning these businesses into platforms. That's what I meant. Well, thank you. My last question. Regarding shareholder return, looking at the new medium-term management plan, you are looking to grow profitability, focus on investment, profit levels, margin levels. At what level, in terms of shareholder return and payouts, when will they start to be increased once you hit what levels of profit? Answer: we always think about shareholder return. Under this new plan, well, of course, we'll have to increase shareholder return. It has to be greater than the old plan, otherwise they won't be convinced. So we will increase shareholder return as well as investments. That's how we think of our capital allocation. Thank you.
Next question, please. Question. I have two questions. So this may be related to the earlier question, but financial leverage is my question. ABB and T&D acquisition, the target leverage is DE ratio 0.5 or below. So once again, net DE ratio was mentioned earlier, so not a commitment, but is your criteria net DE or DE ratio? If you could once again clarify this, please. Answer: net DE ratio. Question: net DE ratio 0.5 or below. Answer: our current target is 0.5 or below, but we will look at the situation closely. When we say more leverage, from the past, it's been 0.5 or below from the trend from the past, and so we need to review and revise. Rather, we need to think of how to have higher leverage to have more effective M&A and investment. Question. So net DE may exceed 0.5 temporarily, but you will not think that is a problem? Answer. If we want to have a growth investment and if it can be recovered, then we will think of that when that requirement comes up. Question. My second question is about cost reduction. In the medium-term management plan, the growth potentiality and efficiency were referred to. Until now, you talked about reducing the number of subsidiaries and the sustainability of the transformation project. So what is your cost reduction measures now? And according to the media, you talked about a reduction of 100 billion yen. So in the next 3 years, how much room or effort in cost reduction are you anticipating? Answer. Cost reduction, as I said earlier, in the past, we promoted smart transformation. Hundreds of billions of yen were saved. But the market competition was severe, so we had to compete by reducing the price. So rather than that, we should look at the cost structure. And so gross margin and SG&A in each business unit need to improve. So that's our focus now. So overall, global leading company has gross margin of close to 30% or higher than 30%, and SG&A is lower than 20%, and double-digit operating margin. So we need to look at the structure of the business we are in charge of, what the gaps are, and make improvements. So business operation and process need to be reviewed. And as a result, we can calculate the absolute amount of cost reduction.
Question. Thank you for the presentation. There are two questions I would like to ask. Question number one, which has to do with the electric appliances, global life solutions business. In newspaper reports, the significance of merger is discussed. So white goods business combined with Lumada, that's been the explanation. So by leveraging Lumada, selling value-added B2B, and white goods, as opposed to that white goods, it seems that the customers are different for these two businesses. So as part of Life Solutions business in the life segment, what you're trying to achieve, is it in the right direction? If you could elaborate on that. Answer. Global life solution, there are two main directions. One has to do with white goods. We have to increase the profitability of our white goods business. And another is something that's close to B2C business, which is rare for Hitachi. People's lives. This business of ours, electric appliances, are very close to people's everyday lives. And connected appliances we want to provide, and new life solutions can be provided. Mr. Taniguchi, the president, is always talking about connected appliances. That is also important. And Hitachi alone may have difficulty doing all of this. Through partnering, we would like to achieve the vision that we are trying to hammer out right now. There's a lot of room for profitability improvement. So not just in Japan, but in overseas as well, there's room to improve and expand business. Profitability right now is way too low. So we must make improvements on that. So a product improvement, white goods product improvement, and improvement of profitability for the solution business. These are the two things that we need to work on, and they're being covered by various newspaper reports. Well, thank you. Second question. Again, automotive business as part of the life business. So connected car, case, combining Lumada, I do understand that as a concept. A part is mainly focused upon, well, C is related to IT, S it's different. So compared to your global competitors, inclusive of resources, you may not have enough size to compete. So centering around case, you will continue to try to drive your automotive system, or would you try to supplement it with something else? Well, details will be provided on the 4th of June. Just to give you a macro view, in terms of products, we need to narrow them down. By that, what do I mean? Electrification is the trend. So we need to narrow down on parts and components that are related to electrification. And second, Hitachi, the parent, will have to be heavily involved in this. OTA, connection with the cars, collaboration with the cars. For example, updating the programs mounted on the car, or ADAS development. For these activities, Hitachi, the parent's information business team, IT business team, will have to be involved pretty heavily. So two main things: narrowing down parts and components that we're going to do, and secondly, systems development, including software development with the involvement of Hitachi, the parent. These are two we're thinking of. There's one correction: DE ratio. It's not net DE. Gross DE ratio should be less than 0.5.
Next question, please. Question. I have one question. In today's presentation, on the first page, social innovation business, become the global leader in social innovation business is mentioned. I understand this target very well, but in your market position, when you think of this in your market position or domain, in the 5 areas you mentioned, life solution especially, what position do you need to be to achieve this goal? Answer. It's a very difficult question to answer. Now, first we need to define what the global leader is. I think the most important factor is, from customers' point of view, social innovation. When customers want innovation, if they recall Hitachi, if it reminds Hitachi, that's most important. In Japan, innovation reminds us, or Lumada in Japan. But in the world, this is not still the case. So the 5 areas, power, ABB will be coming on board. And in industry, Solid Air has 4,000 customer clients, and JR Automations has a very strong team in robotics. So by combining that with Lumada, we want a customer to think of Hitachi when they want innovation. So that is important in our 2021 midterm management plan. So what the desirable level of share is to make that happen has not been finalized yet.
Any other questions? Thank you. Question. I have 2 questions. Question number 1. With respect to expansion of Lumada, you talked about a number 1.6 trillion. As you look to grow the business, well, so far you've divided the business into SI versus core. SI is not growing very much. So is it correct to understand that you're looking to drive core business? And most of Lumada business is in Japan. So is there still room for growing the core business still in Japan? Answer. Overall revenue 1 trillion. Core accounts for 300 billion. Toward 2021, the core Lumada business will have to be doubled. So that is the awareness or the plan that we have. At this moment, yes, Lumada's main business is in Japan. But as I said earlier, quality assurance applications or truck maintenance repair, we will have such use cases developed. And so going forward, we will see more business for Lumada overseas. But right now, the bulk of it is in Japan. Answer or question. So have you run this cycle already? Answer. Oh, no. More so than in Japan, we're saying that there's room for growth overseas. There's still room for growth in Japan. Question. You're defining 5 sectors. Well, so far you had 4 areas, and 1 layer will be added. But with direct reporting to BU, you will not slow down the speed. But if we're going to apply ROIC to manage 5 sectors, the 2 layers will have to be strengthened. So by reorganization, how will you prevent slowdown? Answer. Information and communication. We will conduct it as we've been. I myself and the heads of business units will communicate with each other closely. And heads of the 5 business units, not that I have all the details of each of the 5 sectors. So I will delegate to the 5 leaders as to what to do for these 5 sectors. If they want to have M&A or R&D, they will decide. And they will submit the proposals, and we will decide the priority and make decisions. But then, depending on the amount, they will have the power to decide. I think we should set a threshold for that.
中から、
Next question, please. Question. I have 2 questions. As mentioned earlier, the 5 areas, the profit improvement factor is my question. So you mentioned SG&A and gross margin. And last year in the meeting, you talked about the overseas subsidiary, the fixed cost reduction of around 100 billion yen. So this 100 billion yen cost reduction can lead to 1% improvement. In this medium-term management plan, the added value, you are increasing the value of the customers to improve your profit. How much will be included? Or are you talking about the next medium-term management plan? In the current medium-term management plan, on the cost side, how much can you raise the margin and the added value? Answer. In each area, I cannot say how much in each area at this point in time. But in mobility, in rail, in the rail business, service business will increase in terms of revenue and reduction of OPEX. This service business, stock type business will increase going forward. And in life, it will be one phase before that. We will mainly focus on the cost reduction. And for industry, cost reduction has progressed significantly, so the next growth may come from value added. And for energy, ABB already has revenue exceeding 1 trillion yen, and operating margin is around 10%. And by adding Hitachi Lumada, added value can increase, and that's what we expect. For IT, needless to say, IT will be Lumada-centric, and so added value will increase. So this is my overall projection. So I may not be answering your question directly, but in life, there's still room for cost reduction. And in the other areas, we will focus on increasing added value, add value, and improve our profit through service provision. Question. My second question is increasing value. Lumada, that is the core in your value increase. So multiplying by n times, this is the key. So increasing, multiplying. What are the challenges for multiplying? And you mentioned increasing the front line capability. So if you could elaborate on this. Answer. The most important is go-to-market frontline reinforcement. So no matter how much we focus on maintenance and repair and predictive maintenance for truck, I think this can be applied around the world. No matter how good our technology is, our front line is limited. So Lumada and the surrounding areas, we want the delivery area to be expanded. So anything on this point? Question. Thank you. So in terms of timeline, will this delivery structure can be completed in the current medium-term management plan, or Can this be fully captured in this plan? Answer: in the next 1 or 2 years, we will prepare and then harvest in fiscal year 21.
定刻近いんですが、最後、お一方一問。
It's close to the closing time, but one last question. Just one question? I have 3 questions. So question, a basic one. Free cash flow from operating activities, 2.5 trillion. Last year it was 610 billion. Well, if you multiply it by 3 times, 1.8 trillion per year, you will have to increase the free cash flow to 800 billion or so if you are to hit the 3-year plan. So cash flow from operating activities, what are the initiatives to increase the cash flow? Answer: 2018 medium-term management plan. The target was 2 trillion. So how are we to increase it by another 500 billion? That is the question. And 500 billion, as has been discussed, I think one important point is how to shift toward service business. So stock type service business, how can we increase that is going to be key. So 500 billion to be increased in the next 3 years. That is the size of increase we have in mind. Question, it's not going to be too difficult? Answer, correct. I don't think it's going to be too difficult. My second question, Lumada 1.6 trillion. Given the performance last year, you will have to increase the business by 500 billion. And IT, 2 trillion. So on top of that, IT will have to be increased from 2 to 2.5 trillion. The front business, 2.4 trillion. So am I correct that it will be grown to 2.5 trillion? Is that correct? Answer, Lumada core business is above 300 billion, including SI. Overall, the revenue exceeds 1 trillion yen. That is the size. The IT business has 2 trillion, but not everything is posted as part of IT. Industry is also involved. Lumada application cases are also driving the number. Lumada core, 300 billion yen or so, that is posted as part of IT. Other SI-related business, that's posted as part of industry, mobility, and other sectors. That's how it's posted. Question, so Lumada, 335 billion, you're going to double that, you said. So that will be posted as a part of IT purely? Is that correct? Answer, yes. So we will see 2.4 trillion or so. Question, IT is not going to grow all that much. The growth rate is somewhere around 1% typically. But then on average, you need to grow by 10%. Is that correct? Answer, if you focus just on IT, what you said is correct. But Hitachi has IT and OT, both of them. Combining the two is going to be key for Hitachi. So in the industry area, shortening the lead time or improving quality of production in factories, that's where much of the focus is. But by adding Lumada, what production process should be followed for what production timeline, how to connect with e-commerce, connectivity will increase. So in industry, there are lots of application cases that we can develop using Lumada. So SI Lumada business will grow even more, not just a core business. My last question, I hope this is not going to be too nasty a question for you. Last year, GE posted an impairment loss of 2.5 trillion yen from Alstom. They used to be an excellent company. They're in tatters right now. So for Hitachi, it's ABB that I would like to talk about. HDD that was divested by IBM. You took it, and ABB you acquired. Aren't there any risks? Well, in the EPC business, you're running losses. At this time, 300 billion. I thought that you discontinued the EPC business, but then it seems that you are reverting to the EPC business again. It concerns me. It worries me. Well, you may be different from GE, that Hitachi is going to be all right. So what should be my view on this? Answer. Well, I've known you for many years. You know how much difficulty I've had to go through managing the EPC business. And you talked about ABB. And I think you are aware of my loathing for the EPC business. And yet I made a decision for ABB. And I hope you'll understand why. By 2018, we eliminated the EPC, we cleaned up the EPC business. And that was a key to the 2018 plan. So even with ABB, I think we will be able to shut down the EPC-related risk. That is at least our thinking. And I hope you will believe us. Question. So in the grid business, you will try to utilize the existing assets so that you won't have to take on EPC-related assets anymore? Is that the correct thinking? Answer. We can focus on products-related business first and foremost. With respect to EPC, unlike other plant-related business, construction of transformer substations, the civil portion is not all that great. I hope you'll understand that. And even so, I have a loathing for EPC that runs deep in me. So we would like to shut the risk down. Can we do that even more? We're thinking. I hope you'll understand.
With that, we will close the 2021 Medium-Term Management Plan briefing. Thank you very much.